Alright guys, we're going to jump into another play breakdown for the iForm Z Close. And in this video, we're going to be looking at the play PA Sail. And I typically use this only versus zone. It doesn't get the best separation against man with the stock routes. However, I do have a lot of apprentices all over the field in my MUT team, so every now and again I will call this. But if you don't have a lot of apprentices and you're wondering how do I use this play, it's more effective against zone coverage, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and turn auto flip on. Okay, good. We'll call cover 3 sky. So let's take a look at the play. We have a corner route, we have a skinny post, and we have this dig route. Now this play can be good just stock, right? If say you're running the ball to great effectiveness and you're causing your opponent to try to shoot gaps with their user, like say this guy is trying to shoot down and play the stretch, you can leave the play action in. I don't recommend doing this against a heavy blitzing defense, but like a base defense where people are just trying to kind of contain you. You do something like this. And that linebacker typically won't even be there with the play action. You can kind of throw that skinny right underneath the safety. That goes for cover 2, cover 4, and cover 3. You can leave the play action in and do that. If they are playing a lot of like curl flats, then you kind of have to motion this fullback out. Let's go ahead and just show it when it's not motioned out. We're trying to create a makeshift screen. That's the whole basis of this, right? But then a lot of times you'll get him running into that guy. You see how sloppy that is? That's an unfortunate thing. If you're on the wide side of the field, right? So say you're wide side right here, you can wheel that fullback and then swing the halfback. But if you're not, right? If you're not, then you can't really wheel him to that side. He'll wheel to the other side. So the way to get around that really would be to just motion him. Now you've got something like this. You can create a makeshift screen underneath. This guy will get out and block. Well, that time he didn't. But typically, he'll at least get in the way, right? Let's talk about the corner route in this. So if you're wide side of the field and the corner route's on the wide side, it's not going to be as good if you don't motion this guy out wide. We talked about wide side versus short side corners. But if you do something like this, you can still kind of click on and get to that. But it's a little bit more effective, right, if you were to do something like this and even streak this outside guy. Because now that deep third has no chance of coming back and playing that route. If you're short side, let's go ahead and short side this. Definitely is a little bit better. All I did was block my halfback, and Tom got sacked. So go ahead and do that one more time and you would streak this receiver. And if you leave him on the skinny post, then you're going to have problems because he's going to just get passed off to the safety. So let's go ahead and there it is. Right? Then you don't have to motion. Right? But just keep that in mind, short side versus wide side. Now, what are some other route combinations you can do? One I really like is to wheel this halfback and motion him left. Creates a switch concept on the left, right? So now you can kind of attack most of the areas of the field. You can attack the flat to the right, you can attack the flat to the left, intermediate left, intermediate right, and then deep middle. So if they're not pass committing or they're not like shading underneath, a lot of times you can do this. But if they are, and that flat, say that flat's going to play that, I'm going to go ahead and shade underneath. And we're going to use this guy because if this guy drops back into this area, you won't be able to hit the dig route. But just say they're using this guy, and we run that same route combo. And that's when the dig route comes into play, right? So if they're using that backside hook zone and they're being a little bit more aggressive on your underneath stuff, then that's where that will come into play, right? I do a lot of different route combinations just depending on what my opponent's doing. So say they were doing that, they were using that guy, and they were leaving the short and middle open, I would do probably something like this, right? It's just kind of picking and choosing where the opponent's user is and then attacking where they're not, right? What are some other route combos versus some other zone coverages? Well, let's take a look at... Actually, let's take one more look at cover 3. There's another route combo that you can use. And again, I use a lot of apprentices, but this one you don't really have to. So you can streak this outside guy and motion this skinny post over. Now, typically, this is my slot apprentice player, but you don't need this to... You don't need slot apprentice to run this route combination. You get that jam right there against a non-baseline cover 3. That streak runs off the deep coverage, and then you have that. And then you have kind of the little smash concept on the right. I do like to, because I think the skinny post sometimes will run a little bit deeper than I want it to. If I have my slot apprentice, I'll just do something like this. And then you can do your other route combinations sort of like that, or if you want a streak right here, it just depends on where your opponent's using it again. Now, that gets into that area. If they're dropping really deep with that corner route, then that's when you would dump it down to the halfback on that streak route. So you just pay attention to this user here. If he drops with this corner route, then the halfback streak route. Quick little dump off right here. Very easy yards. I actually have, I was using Jukebox, but I don't know if that's really the most effective use of my AP. But still, your halfback is one of your weapons in this set, so you don't want to go ahead and just completely forget about him. But that's pretty much it. I mean, you can do a lot of different stuff, like I said, with the apprentices. I have outside apprentice. This is another good route combo. Something like that, or even like this, right? But get creative with it. I mean, I do a lot of different things on offense because of those apprentices, but it's really up to you guys to understand how zones work and how to kind of manipulate and move zones, and then also pay attention to where the person's user is. But that's pretty much our zone beater, the PA Scissors, or actually PA Sail, but it's basically PA Scissors. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's take a look at another passing play, and we'll keep it moving.